Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good weekend. If you hear Frozen in the background, it's my kids watching Frozen so that I can do my video. Anyway, I'm doing my trading plan as I do, pretty much every night after the close, and then I reevaluate in the morning after the futures move overnight. As we know, they like to manipulate the futures pretty good overnight. So things change overnight. We try to anticipate what may happen overnight, and then that kind of just decides whether I kind of hold overnight or not. But anyway, here I am Sunday. Usually kind of think through what I'm going to do Monday. I came into Friday short. I shorted like in Thursday's pop, and it kind of I was shorting like up and around here as this thing was rolling back over in as it started to come and break these levels. And then I was down a little bit Friday, but I didn't see enough to convince me that I needed to change my mind, which is fine. And then we, obviously took it, went down pretty hard in the late afternoon. So I'm holding short, and the ideal trade in my mind would be the gap down Monday, kind of like we saw to start the new year. However, when you look at the quant data, it's suggesting 70% odds of gapping up, with a 5-day low close below the 10-day and above the 200. So then I start asking myself, well, what would be my plan if that's the case? And I see this kind of head and shoulders pattern here with a target of 2020. So I'd like to see, even with a gap up, I'd like to see this stay in place, this trade, because a gap up and up into 2055, and then a rejection there at the neckline, kind of a neckline retest, and then a rollback over. That's okay. I think I'll probably look to reconsider if this level starts to look like it's becoming support and it's killing off this pattern. Because I think what can happen here is anyone that's playing this trade, and I'm sure there are people they are now short and are starting to get squeezed. And so I think that there's a good probability if that happens that we could get up here and test this area, which is a 30-point move, and I don't need to ride that. I'd rather cover, take a for a small win, and if it gets up here and then comes back below it, then I can reevaluate. There'll be some price action in here probably that'll let me do that for very low risk. But that'd be sort of what I'm watching. If when this range breaks, I'll be much more of a swing trader. But when we're in the range, I want to be a little bit more tactical, just because the reality is like this is still a higher low. So until we take this area out and trigger this pattern, this is still a range that could break higher. We can't, we don't know, I don't know, nobody knows what will actually happen. And so, always keep an open mind. I've definitely caught myself in the past not being prepared for this kind of gap up move, and then it just runs 30 points in my face. And then you become a little bit more emotional. And so if you have a plan with very low risk, you just cut it and you move on. And you're watching. For me, I'm definitely still a seller of strength. While this pattern looks to be the dominant pattern. If this ends up being a higher low here, we get up in here and this starts to look like kind of a double bottom or an inverse head and shoulders. Maybe we pull back in here and then we regain this area. Then the bull case is back on the table. We have to keep that open mind. I mean, we're such a long way from that. It's more, what can happen here this week. It's Fed week. It's OPEX week. It's not Fed week, but it's Fed minutes on Wednesday. It's OPEX week. OPEX week's, been bullish of late. So, keeping an open mind. I have no interest in riding 30 points in my face here after being in the money. And so how does that happen? And that's basically, this head and shoulders basically becomes not a pattern anymore. We can do that. So that's sort of what I'm watching for. So my plan is if this area becomes support, I'm going to kind of cut it and kind of wait for a spot up in here to try to find a short quite a bit higher. Like I said, more tactical here until we break this level. And then if we break this level, then I'm basically holding unless this area becomes support again. That's sort of how I do it. You know what I mean? I always try to keep an open mind because just been burned in the long run trying to thinking something's going to happen when no one really knows. And it's all about planning and understanding patterns and how they should work, and when they're not working, what's supposed to happen, what's going to happen. Kind of if we look at this big picture, I mean, it's not, I think it's low probability, but it's not impossible that this becomes a cup and handle for higher prices. So we need to see these levels, taken down, and then this 1967 target acquired, and then we can start saying that the bear, this thing might get back down in here. But we're just so far from it. So the people that are shouting and saying that we're going to all-time lows, maybe. I mean, it would be nice. Since I'm bearish right now, or leaning bearish anyway. But I'm not going to be sitting here and be just totally ignorant to the fact that this hasn't broken down. This can still go higher. Things can happen, and if you're not prepared for them, you're going to get burned. Like if we just go back to last year, we had kind of the same thing here. We had this. So it looks like this is just a bigger pattern of this, so it acquired its target, and then it went back up. So, can we get down here and then get back up in here? Or, even back up in here and back down, like, kind of like that. I mean, that's fine, but just prepare for anything. We can't just be ignorant and just say, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Because the guys, if people were shorting near the close on Friday and this thing gaps up, they're going to be underwater, and they're going to be covering, and you have to be aware of that. That's market dynamics. That's the stuff that happens. It's emotion. So that's why I think that this level is important. As you can kind of protect yourself there, because it's definitely possible we see this week. Hope you guys can pick something up there. As always, tweet at me, or I have a contact page on my website. If you have questions, you can reach out to me that way. All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you guys tomorrow.